going on, people? How we doing? Look alive, look alive. Because it is time for another exciting installment of Monday Night Live. That's right. AKA the Hangout stream, AKA the Chill stream, baby. All fired up, ready to have some fun for July 3rd, 2023, and brought to you by yours truly, the man, broadcasting from behind the curtain. You know who I am. Because if you don't know by now, you can visit www.livefreeliverich.com or simply Google this name. Bet your ass you can find out. How you doing? You want the briefing for tonight's show? Let me give it to you real quick, real fast. Do you like paranormal investigations? If so, I've got some spooky drama lined up for you tonight. I'm also going to be talking about developing the right mindset and my appearance on a podcast that just so happens to be called The Right Mindset. I'm going to have some fun tonight with some translated Chinese song lyrics from someone who comes from China. But before I get to all that, first things first, I'd like to take this time and slide right inside my first segment of the night, where I like to shine a spotlight on some books. That's right. That are currently available or coming soon to an online store near all of you. That's right. It's true. So let's check it out. First up, from the Twitter, from Michael W. Cook, author. He says, my daughter's book was ranked on Amazon #1 new release. Wow. Sci-fi. Do the blind understand sight? #horror. Do ghosts fall in love? #fantasy. Do immortals live forever? Technically, I think that's true, yes. #mystery. Does Cinderella avenge her father? Let's see what we have here. Tonight, this is Cook's collection of short stories. This is young adult fiction written by a young adult, by Alicia Lorraine Cook. If you were blind, would you know the concept of sight? Do ghosts fall in love with the living? Would an immortal being really want to live forever? What if Cinderella took revenge on her father's murderer? Find out in this explosive new collection of young adult short stories. 44 pages on this one. Children's short stories, dystopian sci-fi books, folk tales, and myth anthologies. That one story right there, or that one prompt, would an immortal being really want to live forever? That one sounds like a pretty interesting concept. Moving right along. Of course, all these books in this first segment, during this first segment, are all books that are suggested to me directly by the publishers themselves, whether they are a self-pubbed author or they come from it's an independent label or directly from the small press company. And we have from Calem, Pritchard, Stewart. Says, hello there. My 3 novels can be found here. Shares his links. Let's see what I found at that link. What do I have? What does Calem bring? What is Calem sharing with us here? This is Calem's book, Vortex. Vortex by Calem Pritchard Stewart. All right, there's the cover. When Sam Cohen wakes up one dreary October morning, she decides to ditch class with her 2 best friends just for the hell of it. Playing hooky, huh? Little does she know how this decision is going to change her life forever. After she and her friends wind up at a dive bar named Vortex. Some good times and hard times pass, and Sam meets a boy at a local dive bar. His name's Christoph, and he has a cool accent and cool friends of his own. Sam's sure it's just a thing, just a way to pass the time and put her worries about the future aside for a while. After all, she and her friends are supposed to be headed to college when the new year comes. But that's all going to change as she gets pulled deeper into Christoph's dark orbit, the strange night world he inhabits. It may be late fall in Canada, but still, Sam's never seen him in the light of day. A story of love, friendship, and dark things hidden in plain sight. Not really sure where this one's going. 500. I mean, I want to take a guess, but I feel like based on what's being given to me in the blurb, it would be too big of a guess to just make. It would be more of like an assumption here. But we got 528 pages. Oh, I have no categories from Amazon to help me out on this one. 528 pages. Sounds like, but it does sound like, I don't know if she is like a senior in high school. It's got to be like maybe at college. Maybe this is a college freshman. No, because it says that she's going to be going to college. I don't know. So it sounds like she's a senior in high school. How's a senior in high school get into a dive bar? Just I guess that's a reasonable question to ask there. Maybe they got some fake IDs. Who knows? All right, one more book for this first segment here. This comes from Nicholas Blaga writes. Nicholas Blaga writes. Just shares a link to his book. entitled Before Graceland, a novel of Elvis Presley's childhood by Nicholas Blaga. Elvis Presley, huh? The king of rock and roll himself. Interesting. All right, let's check out the blurb on this one. Before Graceland is the coming of age story of the most enduring pop cultural icon of all time. Follow 11-year-old Elvis Presley through the highs of experiencing his first crush, getting his hands on his first guitar, and securing a spot to compete on Children's Day of the Mississippi-Alabama Fair and Dairy Show. Follow him through the hardships of his birth home's foreclosure, his beloved mother's health problems, and his father's imprisonment. Book 1 of the Before Graceland trilogy frames the journey of the boy who would be king as never before. For before the jumpsuits, there were overalls. Before Graceland, there were tumble-down shacks. Before the songs could make him famous, one would make him believe. There's 256 pages. This is categorized under historical biographical fiction and biographical fiction. Now, here's the thing about that. I will just say, I'm not really 100% sure if you're allowed to, like, I don't know what the deal is with that. Like, I don't really know legally, like, where that stands. Like, if you're allowed to commercialize a celebrity's biography or like a biographical type story or about a real celebrity or public figure. In other words, like, do it for profit. But perhaps, Nicholas Blaga received expressed written permission directly from the Presley estate. Hey, I don't know this guy. Maybe he's got ties. Maybe he's got friends in high places as far as that goes. Or maybe he spoke to a lawyer and it turns out he doesn't need permission to do that. See, I don't know too much about those things, but I would just say it definitely raises some questions, I would say. Those are the books. Those are the books for this week, ladies and gentlemen. And you can head on over to the community tab and you can vote for which one out of those 3 books this week you thought had the most text appeal. That's right. In other words, which one out of those 3 books would you be most likely to pick? And if you would like to discover more from the independent market, you can head on over to my shorts tab or my playlist tab, and you can open yourself up some mystery packs. That's right. Inside each mystery pack, there is a cover card that reveals a book from the independent market that was recognized by the Live Free, Live Rich network. And inside the description section of each video, there's a link that will take you to an editorial that was written specifically on that piece of work by yours truly. All right. Moving right into the next segment here. This would be the Reader's Review. The Reader's Review. The Reader's Review. This is where I would be reading reviews that you guys share with me. What I'm looking for here is reviews, short form reviews specifically. And I want to connect with those of you who are taking the time to give indie books. Those of you readers out there that are giving indie books the time of day, I'm interested to see how many of you are out there. How many of you are doing that? I know that there is a lot of authors out there, and they're almost like popping up like on a daily. There's a lot of like indie authors out there. And that's great. You know, the more the merrier. You know, it's all part of, you know, building up this indie scene. But I also want to know if there are actual readers out there too, like people who are actually reading these indie books. You know, it can't just be me. You know, it can't just be me that's reading these books and reviewing these books. So I'd be interested to know if there are some of you out there who are also reading these books, but you're also not just reading these books, but you're also reviewing these books. So this is nothing too crazy, nothing too spectacular. Really, just if you have a Goodreads account, think that. Share if you do like a Goodreads. This could be like a plug for your Goodreads. If you want to get a little plug to your Goodreads, or for your social media, like if you just do like reviews like through social media, think like Bookstagram. Text-based, okay? So I'm not talking like TikTok videos. You do like a TikTok video type book review, like a book talk video. I'm not talking about videos. This is strictly for written reviews. So if you do like Twitter, or if you do like snap a photograph on Instagram and you do like a little accompanying, like little short form book review, that type of deal, and you give it like a rating, something like that, where you're giving it like a rating. Think like you're giving it a rating, and then you write up like a short little type of review. But even if it's like Goodreads, I'll read any Goodreads, even if it's kind of a lengthy Goodreads review. I'm cool with that. Any kind of like third party social media type site. Now, if you have like a blog or something like that, and you do like editorial format reviews, that's something different. We'll get into that. But this, I'm looking just for short form reviews directly from readers, because I want to highlight readers. But another way is for authors. If you guys are indie authors and there are people who are actually giving your books the time of day, and they're reading your material and they're reviewing your books, you can share links with me on that too. Like if you want to like recognize a particular reader or whoever just so happened to read your book and leave a review, you can share a link with me and I'll read it during this segment. Now, for you readers out there, I just want to let you know that this is not about paying lip service to the authors at all. This is literally just about highlighting people who are giving indie books a time of day. Like, I'm interested to know, like, who's out there, who's doing that. You know what I'm saying? Like, who's actually involved in the culture as far as that goes, as far as the indie scene goes. So, like, I want to know that for my own interest, and not just, you know, and also think of it as like a form of discovery as well. So it kind of like dovetails like a form of discovery. But it doesn't have to be a book that you enjoyed either. I just want your personal reading experience with a book. Okay. So it could be this. You could even, if you wanted to share like a 2-star book that you read, it could be a 2-star book, or it could be a 4 or 5-star book, whatever. Okay. Or whatever, however you want to rate your books. Okay. Just share them with me. But I'm also thinking about, for this, one thing that I think would probably be pretty fun would be to invite booktubers, like people who are actually active and involved on YouTube, like Booktube specifically, and they read indie books. I think it would be interesting to get some people, so, you know, they can talk about their channel and stuff like that, but also kind of like get some other points of view, some other perspectives on various different books that come from the indie scene. I think that would be interesting for the show as well. We'll see. I haven't really reached out to anyone in particular as of yet. If this sounds like something you'd be interested in, by all means, you're welcome to shoot me an email. Shoot me an email. Let me know if you're interested, and we'll see how it goes. What's up, DA? Welcome. How are you? Been working on anything? I'm going to set up the next segment here. I'm going to keep on trucking. We're going to keep on moving and keep on grooving, baby. Had a busy week. It was fun, too, I have to say. I enjoyed it. I like when I have things to talk about. That's what I enjoy. I enjoy when I come on here, a week has gone by, and I have things to talk about. You know? Makes me think that like stuff actually transpired. Things happened. Stuff happened, you know, stuff happened that wasn't bullshit. Bullshit, distractions, nonsense, news cycle drama. People were using their brains. I like that. I like that. I like when people use their brain and they're not just reacting to clickbait or rage bait or news cycle, effectively bullshit that means absolutely nothing in the grand scheme of the individual's day to day. You know, a lot of people get sucked into that stuff, and it makes me shake my head. I shake my head on a daily. I shake my head, really. I try. Log into social media. Okay, what's going on? Bullshit. Okay, I'm out of here. Peace. I gotta go. I can't. I can't. I'm not going to engage in nonsense, stupid talk. But anyways, let's talk about some cool shit that happened this week. Yeah, that's right. If I don't say so myself. Here's some announcements. Brand new, a brand spanking new Live Free, Live Rich special presentation for you. That's right. For you lovely people, I put some production value into this bad boy. This one is entitled A Look at Book Reviews and How I Evaluate Fiction. So this actually dates back last year. It was like last year I did a special presentation on story structure. Specifically, I did a special presentation on story structure where I actually went through in the video and gave an actual example of what a complete story is from beginning to end. It was a pretty simple example, but I think that it kind of like illustrated the point of like how to really write a complete story. Now, this is where I've been meaning to kind of take another look of the other side of the coin here. So you have the storyteller's side of the coin when it comes to writing fiction, which, mind you, and I do make mention in this, I actually do think it is much more difficult, okay? It is much more difficult to write a compelling piece of fiction than it is to write a quality review. I think actually anybody is pretty much capable of writing a book review. It's not difficult to write a book review. However, you know, and everybody, but I try to for this is not like this presentation is not about how do you write a book review, because it's not really like reading is kind of like can be a very personal kind of experience. So there's not like really a right way to do book reviews. There's not necessarily like a right way of doing book reviews. Is there a wrong way to do book reviews? Sure, there are wrong way to do book reviews, because that comes down to the application. Like if you're not following the assignment, like if you're given an assignment, a book review as an assignment, then you might have certain criteria that needs to be included in your book review. But if you're just doing like book reviews, like you're just doing it at your leisure, like you're just doing it, you know, books that you decided to read and you wanted to write up a review for it, yeah, like there's really no wrong way to do it. And another interesting thing is ratings as well. I also talk about ratings in this presentation. And so how I can only share my experience, right? So how I go about rating books. And I always think it's interesting to hear like how the different ways that people rate books as well. So just a little, I guess just a little thing, like if you check out this presentation and you dig it, maybe leave a comment and share your thoughts. Like what kind of criteria do you guys put in your book reviews? Do you do like a full on, are you like gung ho, balls to the wall? You do like a full on analysis, like obsessive compulsive level analysis of the book itself from beginning to end, which I would say, like, for me, I do this presentation is focused on written reviews. However, I do make mention of video review formats as well. And I think that video discussions are probably one of the better formats for doing like full on analysis or full story. Like we're going to cover the entire book from cover to cover, everything, every event that transpires in this story, we're going to cover it in this review. I think that's like the discussion format is probably the best way to go about doing that. I don't know if it's like written reviews are the best way to go about doing that, because then your review ends up being like 30 pages long, if not longer than that. So the thing about reviews is kind of try to find that like sweet spot of like, okay, what is it that I want to cover with this particular book, and give it a fair shake. Try to give it a fair shake, but also cover like everything that I thought, keyword I, right? Because you're coming at this from your own personal perspective on the matter. So it's like finding that sweet spot where it's like, okay, I'm going to write a review. I want to cover all what I thought were the relevant elements of this book, and write it in such a way that it's clear and concise. And, and people have different ways of going about doing that. Some people are just like, they just get straight to the point and they're just sharing their opinions. I did not like it. This book sucks. This is stupid. Which, at that point, you could say, well, that's not a very good review. I wouldn't say that that's a quality review. But again, when we're talking about, anytime you hear the word quality, though, you got to be careful. You got to be very careful when it comes to using that word quality, whether you're talking about a book or you're talking about, a review or whatever, because the word quality is a value judgment in it and of itself. It's inherently a value judgment term. So you're say, oh, that's a quality review, or that's a high quality review. Well, that's actually stating an opinion about an opinion, multi-layered opinion. You got opinion inception going on. But yeah, it was fun. And I would say that this, in terms of this video format in general, I would say I probably that was the most fun that I had producing video content in a while. I mean, it's work. It's definitely work to put something like that together. But every now and then, I think, you know, when I'm in the mood, it's fun to put together one of these like special kind of presentations for you guys. I think it's fun. That's the most important thing for me. Am I having fun? Because if I'm not having fun, then I'm not doing it. I don't take anyone for granted on this platform. I don't expect people to show up. I don't expect people to watch all my videos, anything like that. I take none of you for granted. You show up, you show up. You don't, you don't. I keep it moving regardless. So it's got to be fun. So in other words, it's got to be fun for me first and foremost. And if it's not, then I don't do it. And that's simple. Let's talk about something I did have fun doing, and that was being a guest on the Right Mindset podcast. Yeah, with Thomas J. Bellezza. Thomas J. Bellezza. This was my second time around on his show. If you guys remember, my very first appearance on somebody else's podcast was actually on Thomas, and he was so gracious and kind to invite me back for a second time around. Apparently, I must have made quite an impression on him because he invited me back on the show. So very appreciative of that. That was cool. It got to go on there. I opened up, I will say this time around, this one, the first interview, or it's not necessarily an interview. It's more of like we're having a conversation. And that's what I like about his show. I like shows like that where you're having more of a conversation. It's not just boring like, oh, let me look at my questions here. Yes. How did you get your start as a writer? It's not stuff like that. Like it's just kind of like free flow, go with the flow type of show. I like that about Thomas, and he has some character, and he does have quite a personality as well. So that's also helpful. It doesn't feel like you're having a conversation with a pet rock as far as that goes, which is always helpful, especially when you're doing something for an audience, which I think that sometimes people forget that, like when you're on a public platform and you're putting on a show or you're getting in front of a camera and you're uploading it online, it's the idea that you're doing it for attention. I mean, at the end of the day, that is what everybody who uploads stuff online, you're doing it for the attention. So it's to keep in the back of your mind that you have an audience or people may be watching this, so to keep people in mind. I try to do that as best as I can. So, this time around, the first time around, it was like more of like just kind of like feeling each other out type of deal. As far as that goes, but we also did kind of get into it because I don't hold back when I do like these like conversation things, or if I'm going to talk to people, like you're going to get me like at least by the end of the conversation, you're getting like 100% me turned all the way up to 11. I'm not going to like sugarcoat things and do stuff like that. So the first time around, we did happen to get into some interesting topics that were maybe, dare I say, a little bit edgy, which I think makes it interesting because keeping the audience in mind. People don't want to tune into these author interview shows and it's just, oh, how did you? Oh, you started writing with a crayon at the age of 3. Were they non-toxic? Did you eat them? That type of stuff. Try to make it interesting. Second time around, came right out the gate swinging. It was like, we just were rocking and rolling right from the start, and I enjoyed that. What else? So I opened up, but this one I got a little bit more, not too personal. I'm not. With that being said, I'm not the type. I don't get into my personal stuff online. I'm not into that because I know there's a lot of creepers. There's a lot of weirdos. And like losers and shit like that online that, it's not really that smart to be like opening up about your personal life and stuff like that. If you plan on being like a public figure, like in the long run type of deal. So I try to stay away from the personal business, but I did open up about my start as a published author in this interview. But there was also a little bit of a back and forth between Thomas and I in this conversation as well. So I like it when there's a little bit of friction between, the host and whoever is on the show. It's not 100% like, oh yeah, we're just agreeing with everything that each other says, and we're just going back, we're just taking turns blowing smoke up each other's asses. No, it's nothing like that. So just for those of you who are not familiar, let's just check out his channel real quick so I can give you guys an idea of, for those of you who've never heard of the Right Mindset podcast before. Still, actually, I don't recall how new his channel is. I guess I'll find out in just a second here. I don't know how long he's been around. But I guess we're about to find out. All right, so the Right Mindset. Thomas J. Bellezza of the Right Mindset. As you see, he is a published author himself. He has his book here on Amazon. He also happens to be on Goodreads and Twitter. Let's check out his channel description here. Apparently, so he is fairly new. His channel's fairly new. He's been around since 2022, at least on YouTube. He says, at the Right Mindset, I leverage my 10 plus years of experience as a script doctor, story consultant, and developmental editor to help writers hone their craft and bring their ideas to life. With a background in the entertainment industry, I offer guidance on outlining, character development, and plot structure for both scripts and novels. So a bit of a developmental editor on the side there, looks like. It says my channel serves, or he does it full time. I think if I remember correctly, I think that might be the thing that he does full time. I'm not 100% on that. I think I remember him saying something about him doing like ghost writing and something like that as well. It says, my channel serves to educate and inspire writers, sharing my knowledge and techniques while also analyzing films and books to gain insights into the craft. Through interviews with other writers, I aim to provide diverse perspectives on writing, while also elaborating on the business side of the industry, including tips on publishing, marketing, and building a successful writing career. He says, at The Right Mindset, we believe that with hard work, dedication, and the right mindset, anyone can achieve their writing goals. So let's work, grow, and rise together as we continue to develop the right mindset. I think that is a catchy hook there. Catchy tagline. I do like that. And you can see some of his videos here. Oh, shit. We're almost breaking 100 views on this one. So some of his videos here, you'll see like it's mostly, he really focuses on craft. So he'll be talking about like crafting compelling scenes, the rule of 3, are your characters likable? So outlining, doing outlines. His outline work is extensive. There's a lot of work with outlines. Like when he does lives. I guess he hasn't done a live in a while, but he was doing lives for a while where he was doing outlines, like zero draft outline, formatting your manuscript, cleaning up an outline. If you check out those ones, you will see like just how extensive his outline work is, which is pretty cool. All right. What else we got? If you guys have any work that you want to share with me, have you been on any podcasts? Have you done anything like that? You get around? You what do? You do videos? Do you do writing tips types of videos or anything like that? You can share it with me. The easiest way to get your work featured on the show is just go ahead, join one of our group servers. The links to those are always in the show notes down below. Always from the start of the show. You can go scroll right down, bada boom, bada bing. You can join the Gilded, you can join the Discord, you can join them both. Whatever floats your boat as far as that goes. And I don't require you to check in daily. I don't need you to engage in small talk with me. I don't need to hear about your personal life. I don't need to hear about your cat dying or your dog dying or your granny dying or anything like that. It's kind of unnecessary. I just see this as like a place where people who want to be professionals can come and they can network. So like I want to run this show, and in order for me to run this show, I need people to be sharing things with me, because I'm only going to share things on this show from people who are interactive. In other words, people who are proactive, people who are choosing of their own free will to interact with me. So that's it. And if no one's sharing anything, then there won't be any more show. But that's the easiest way to get your stuff on the show, is to do that. So in other words, you don't have to be a part of my club, or anything like that. You don't have to pay me a membership fee every month in order for that privilege either. Anything like that. You don't have to do anything stupid. It's literally just like a place where like actual artists can come together, and creators, readers too, because like I say, I want people who are just involved in the culture, period. People who want to appreciate the culture of the indie scene and kind of build it up. Like those are the people that I want to interact with, like the people who are actually getting involved. Like that'd be great. Let's see what else we got. We got speaking of getting involved and culture, we have I did some voice acting, some drama. I got some drama for you guys. You guys like drama? Actually, in all seriousness, this episode was friggin' awesome. We got Doorway to Nightmare. This is a ongoing audio drama series that is a kind of a thriller, mystery, sometimes horror, sometimes a dark comedy anthology series. Okay. So what do I mean by anthology? Really, what I mean by anthology is that each and every single episode of this show, it doesn't matter where you pick this up. They're in season 7 of this production. Winslow Swan, Crimson Mackenzie, the creators of Doorway to Nightmare, they are on season 7, banging it out of the park. And this episode, this one was fun. I'll say, if I'm to be honest, some episodes are hit or miss. Not every episode is my favorite. Now put that out there, but definitely there are some that are bangers and they nail it. And this just happens to be one of those ones that I thought was fun. Not just the story itself, so the story for this one is, it's a fun twist on the whole like paranormal investigation. So for those of you who are like get into that like paranormal investigation stuff, ghost hunters, that type of thing, that's what this episode is kind of based on, that whole thing. But it does it in such a way that it's not it does it in such a way like you think that it's going to be one thing. There's a twist in classic kind of Doorway to Nightmare fashion, where they have their twist in it, but there's almost like a double twist on this one. And it's fun. So it's like paranormal investigation, but you think it's going to be, okay, it's paranormal investigation gone wrong. And that's about all I'm going to reveal on it. But now let me talk about in terms of production. the amount of work that these two put into these shows is amazing to me. I think it's amazing. It's inspiring, I should say. Definitely. When I first started hearing these shows, like it inspired me to want to get in touch with them, because I'm like, wow, these people here, like, this is what merit is built on, I think. I mean, these people are putting in work. It's a passion project. They're putting in quite a bit of work with each and every single one of these episodes, coming from video editing and, doing, like, editing together productions, videos, and doing stuff like that. Like, I understand the behind the scenes stuff that goes into this. So I feel like I can kind of appreciate it a little bit more than, say, like, the average schmo that might just, like, come across because they decided to click it because it sounded like an interesting title. You know what I mean? So there's that aspect of it. So for that point, I just want to add, like, I really like the sound on here, the way that they put it together. And I'll give you guys a little inside info of how this works. So what they do is, it's not like, it may not be like the highest, like, sound quality. So it's not studio sound quality for these audio dramas. But like Winslow says, these are more of like, well, for one, it's passion project. For two, it's more of like an homage to old-timey radio. So think like the old AM radio shows. That's kind of like what this show is. So it's not like, we're not talking like studio quality sound here, but it's so fascinating to see what these two do with each and every single episode, the layers that they put into it. So just to give you a little inside info of how this works. So how this works is, like, us actors, what they'll do is Winslow will write up a script. If I remember correctly, Winslow will write up the script. Crimson will do the editing, the first round editing on the script, and do the proofreading, stuff like that. Then it gets shipped out to all of us voice actors who are involved in the episode. So like I say, each episode is its own standalone with a fresh cast of characters. So you're not always playing the same character. And I also like that. If this was like a serialized thing where I was just like playing one character every single episode, I think I would get bored with it. But that's what I like about this, is that they keep it fresh. So maybe some episodes I'm playing a gangster tough guy. Maybe some episodes I'm, playing the newscaster guy. It's fun like that. So they keep it fresh. But anyways, the scripts get shipped out to us, the voice actors. So each and every single one of us voice actors that are involved in the production, we're recording our lines separately, individually. And we're not in the same room together. So a lot of what you hear on here is, for one, it's different actors all using different sets of audio equipment for recording, for one. So, there's that aspect to it. But the more important thing that I wanted to make here, the more important point that I wanted to make here was, in this episode, you listen to this episode and you tell me that some of the characters in here, the way that they're interacting, it's almost as if those characters are we're in the same room, or those actors, I should say, were in the same room together when this was being acted out, when the lines were being read. Like, that's like how impressive sometimes, like, it's getting to the point with some of these productions. So, it's for me, it's definitely broadened my horizons, I feel like, because I've been wanting to get into like voice acting for a while, do like different kind of voice acting type gigs. But I didn't want to do it commercially. Like, I just wanted to do it for fun. So because if I do it for fun, then I can turn shit down and just be like, yeah, whatever. Like, I'm not really interested. Commercially, if I'm like, oh, you can hire me for this, that. Yeah, I could also turn down gigs as well. But maybe, who knows, down the road, maybe this could open up some opportunities for me, some voice acting opportunities. Yeah, the newscaster. Now over to sports with Jonathan Rossignol. Jonathan? It's one of my favorite voices to do, the newscaster. All right, I'm just getting word now that we have some haters on the scene. Some haters. We got to look out for those haters. All right, talking about stories. Hey, you guys like opportunities? You writers out there, you want some opportunities? I got one for you. I know people like to network in different ways. You know, people have different comfort levels, comfort zones, whatever you want to call them. Artists can label themselves as being introverted sometimes. They like to keep to themselves, kind of be like a recluse, if you will. Hey, I got an opportunity for you. It's called Storyteller Society. Storyteller Society is something that I launched on the eve of 2022. This is something that I was thinking about in 2021. Can you believe it? This is an idea that I had on the eve of 2022 where I was like thinking to myself, hey, I want to collaborate with you writers out there in the writing community. I've heard a lot about it. I heard there's a writing community out there. There's a community of writers out there that like to, that want to, network, might want to network with some of their peers in the scene, in the group, in the industry, whatever you want to call it. But this is just a passion project. This is my passion project. Okay. This is something that I run through my blog. This is not a commercial project. This isn't an anthology project. This isn't something that you're submitting something to me. It goes into the slush pile, and then I decide whether or not I'm going to publish it and pay you for it. No, this is just a free public collaborative, okay? So if you just enjoy writing fiction, this is for you hardcore writers out there that are literally just like, here, I'm in here for the sake of the art form itself. I want to appreciate the craft. And, it can be a lonely experience sometimes when you're a writer and you're writing fiction and you're like, well, I wonder if there's like other writers out there that wouldn't mind, like, maybe we can network together. Maybe we can work on something together, do like a collaborative type thing. I'm like, hey, shit, I'll answer that call. I'll leave a door open for you guys if that's what you want to do. So think like you writers out there, you aspiring authors, and you've yet to have any of your work published. This might be a stepping stone. Okay, because I am established. I do have established myself as published author, have several works out on the market, and you can collaborate with me. This might be a way for you to kind of get your work out there on a website that is established. What I do is I'm looking for flash fiction. This is for this project is fiction between 500 to 2,000 words. Okay, 500, 2,000 words. You submit a piece to me. This is a non-exclusive agreement. So all you're doing is agreeing to the terms of service, which gives me permission to republish your work on my blog, free for public viewing. So again, this is not a commercial project. This isn't something where I'm trying to profit off of your work. Okay. So this is just literally just a peer-to-peer collaboration. Okay. But just because you submit something to me doesn't mean that it's automatically going to be approved. At the end of the day, this is my blog and I need to approve what gets published on my blog. But if approved, then you will effectively book yourself a room at the Hotel del SS, where all the members of the Storyteller Society stay. Okay. And you can contribute multiple times if you'd like. Okay. And I will approve each piece on a case-by-case basis. But once approved and published, your job's done after that. And this is something that I continue to market on your behalf on a week-to-week basis, on a regular basis. So it's a little something, just a way, literally just a way of networking with my peers, I try to come up with all these different types of ways that people can get involved, you know? I don't want to be somebody that's kind of closed off. I don't want to be somebody who comes across as kind of like a gatekeeper type of person, or, you know, somebody who's just kind of in this to like literally just, you know, make money off of people. Like, it's not my aim. Like, I literally just want to appreciate the indie scene, the whole underground scene, and the culture that is involved there. Because if there isn't, if it's literally just a bunch of indie authors just trying to shill their work, and just a bunch of like, I don't know, like grifters or whatever that are just using them to like, I don't know, make super chats or whatever. I don't know, like try to turn YouTube into a job. Like, that's not, you know what I mean? That's not very helppful for culture, I think. I don't think it's helpful. So I'm trying to like make this situation where it's like artists can come together, and artists who are like, who care about it, who care about the craft and shit, can kind of get together, and the readers who support them. Because that's the most important thing, I would say. Because if there isn't readers, then it's just a bunch of indie authors saying, buy my book, you know? And, you know, it just gets, for me personally, like the more, like I've been cutting back on my YouTube consumption as of late, because I see it's cool that I see that, for one hand, it's cool that there's more people coming into the scene and getting involved in the scene. But on the other hand, it's like, it's fucking boring at the same time, because it's just more the same. You know, it's people just copying each other, doing the same shit. It's more of the same shit. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, you got to kind of like, there's got to be some creativity in there a little bit, I would think, you know, to keep it interesting, or else it's just going to get fucking stale at the end of the day. So I try to like just keep it coming up with these different types of ideas, I should say, to try to like motivate people, even if it's not for me, but motivate maybe some other people who are thinking about getting involved in the scene, and say, well, how can I bring something different to the table? You know, something interesting, you know, maybe easier said than done. Because if it was easy, everyone would do it. Oh, yeah. There's plenty of fly by night, here today, gone tomorrow. See it all the time. But if you want to keep track with a brand that isn't fly by night or here today, gone tomorrow, you can head on over to www.livefreeliverich.com. Literally been around for over a decade. Been around, keeping it solid for over a decade. You can head on over to livefreeliverich.com. Right on the home page, you can subscribe to the weekly newsletter, where I send out one newsletter every week on Saturdays to give you all the pertinent links that will keep you on the up and up with what's going on with the entire Live Free, Live Rich brand, whether it be Live Free, Live Rich Entertainment, Live Free, Live Rich Network, and how you can get involved, whether you are an artist or just a reader or a potential customer. We'll hook you up, give you the hookup. All right. Now's the moment I've been waiting for. This has been, looking forward to this little section right here. This is reading time. Actually, before I say that, I will say that I am open to talking about any of you guys' news. You guys got stuff to talk about? Let me know. You guys actually have interesting shit going on? You think it's newsworthy? Share it with me. Don't think, share the link. I may be inclined to talk about it during a future live stream. All right, reading time. We're going to be talking about, what do we got? this is interesting. Now, this is going to be something different, okay, that I'm going to do here. And I'm going to do it live on the air. We'll see how it goes. But this was shared in the Discord server, okay? So this is lyrics to a song that is called Towards the Light. And this is translated by Ugao Chan. Ugao Chan, who is our resident Chinaman. Yeah, I don't know if he was born there or what. I'm pretty sure he has ties. He has ties to China. Okay, China. All right. So this is interesting, and this comes via his Substack. So let's check this out. So what I'm going to do here is on this is a entry to his Substack where he's breaking down the lyrics to this song, but he's offering a translation, like a 1-for-1 translation. So I thought, to make this interesting, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take his translation, okay? Then I'm going to take the Chinese or Mandarin, whatever the hell this is. I don't have absolutely no idea. And I'm going to take this and I'm going to plug it in to Google Translate, and I'm going to compare the two. So I'm going to see the Ugao Chan translation versus the Google Translate conversion. And we'll see which one we like. We'll see which one I like. You guys can speak for yourselves. We'll see which one I like. Get my notepad here. Get my notepad here. We'll have a little side by side. All right, so there it is. As you can see, so what he did here, he has the side by side. He's got the Chinese or the Mandarin, and then he's got the translation. So we'll read through these lines of this song, but I will also be putting them into Google Translate live on the air and writing down the results. I guess I'll find out what the language is when I plug it into Google. All right. And no, I'm not singing it. All right, first line. Nowhere to run. Nowhere to run. Let's see this. Copy that. I don't know if I'll do it like that. It seems to be taking some time. Let's see. We'll see how quick I get with it. All right. And here's the Google Translate. We'll plug that in there. There it is. Chinese. Turns out it is Chinese. And the first one translates to nowhere to escape. Okay, let me add that to my notepad. Nowhere to run. Nowhere to escape. Next line, please. So we have no place to stand. Maybe I should have done this pre-show. I don't know. I kind of like the suspense. What are we going to get with Google Translate? What? Branchless reliable? What the fuck? How the hell did they get that? So no place to stand. The fuck? Branchless reliable. All righto. Okay. Next. Quite a few lines here. Maybe I won't do it like that. Maybe what I'll do. How can I do this? How can I do this? What I can do is maybe I can go. Here's what I'll do. I'll read the lines. I'll read the lines of Agau's translation. Then I will just, maybe I should just highlight all of this. I'll highlight all of this and put it into Google Translate, but just remove the English. I think that would be the best way to go about doing this. Ooh, and it puts it side by side too. All right. Screw that. We'll do it like that. No notepad necessary. No notepad necessary. All right, let's read these lyrics. Here we go. Let's indulge in the Chinese poetry of this song. So we have first line, nowhere to run, no place to stand. I face the wind headstrong, unyielding and unbending, forgotten how young I am. Never feared to be lonesome. I cried only for regret. My blood is still red. I long for the future. Times and trials were knives and swords chiseled off my wings. Yet I yearn to fly. I'll run towards the light and forget you. I shall only remember the wayward me. I shall hold this light in darkness and sing a long ballad unwavering. I shall choose my own path, leave no regrets. May it be loneliness, may it be weariness. Whatever comes, I stand tall and proud. If my heart aches and despairs, who would have known? Never feared to be lonesome. I cried only for regret. My blood is still red. I long for the future. Times and trials were knives and swords chiseled off my wings, yet I yearn to fly. I'll run towards the light and forget you. I shall only remember the wayward me. I shall hold this light in darkness and sing a long ballad unwavering. I shall choose my own path, leave no regrets. And of course, there's a YouTube link to the original song that you guys, I'll leave a link to this Agau's Substack, and you can check it out and you can listen to this song for yourself and hear those lyrics, what they sound like sung. Is this a love song, Agau? Is this like the Chinese Celine Dion or something? The Chinese Celine Dion. All right, let's check out, let's see now the Google translation. This ought to be interesting. The Google translation of those lyrics. So I have actually heard from people. So I used to work in like security, stuff like that. And, you know, sometimes you'll be interacting with people who speak different languages and whatnot. And there's like this, like a paper, there would be like a paper in the office that would have like various translations to things, like the step-by-step, like what the security officers are going to need from everybody who checks in. So, but there's a thing, like there was a guy, I remember there being a guy who chuckled at the paper, and he spoke English as well, and he just made mention that the translation was incorrect. But it turns out that whoever worked in HR or in the office and did the paper, basically turns out what they did was they just typed it up in Google Translate, and then they just plugged different languages in there to get the translation, in other words. But as we are going to find out, you know, when it comes to Google Translate, like it's not really that accurate because there aren't languages that translate one for one when it comes to English, which I always found very interesting, very fascinating, actually. The fact that the thing about language is like there can be, when people talk about language barriers, what comes to my mind is not just, oh, do you know how to speak French? Or do you know how to speak German? No. There's also the language barrier in terms of understanding each other as well, because there's just certain things that could be said in, say, for instance, like German language or French language or something like that, that just doesn't translate to English. Like, in other words, there just isn't like a straight one-for-one English translation. Or there's other languages that do that as well. As we're going to find out, apparently Chinese is one of those languages. So let's share it. Let's check it out. Let's see what we got here. So this is what Google came up with. So Google Translate. So we had the Agao Chan translation, which is coming from an authentic Chinaman. You know, he has roots in China. Okay. But now we have the Google translation of these lyrics. So let's see how closely it resembles. So we have, let's see. Oh, now it's putting in something different. Now it's putting in something different. All right, let's see. Maybe with, it's interesting because now maybe with the English translation there, No, it doesn't. No, look. So look. So nowhere to run. So this first line, so the top part right here, is supposed to be the Chinese translation. So it just looks straight across. And then there's the English. So this one right here on this side. This is Gao Chan's English translation. And then this is the Google one up here. So for this first line, it says nowhere to run, nowhere to run. Okay, we got 1 for 1 here. But here's the thing. If I take away this part, if I take away Gao Chan's, it says now all of a sudden, magically, it says nowhere to escape. It doesn't say nowhere to run. So that's interesting to note. But I won't do that for everyone. We'll just see how closely it resembles. So for this next line, we have no branch reliable. The fuck? So I don't know how they got that. So Google Translate no branch reliable, whereas Agao said no place to stand. So no branches to hang off of. Is that, see what I mean? It's like maybe it would be helpful if Agao was here, it could explain this. Maybe the Chinese wording is more closer to no, that literally has something to do with tree branches. I don't know. But the English translation, he says, well, the closest thing, because what I mean by that is maybe he's like, okay, the closest English thing, the closest English translation to describe what is being said here in Chinese is no place to stand. And that's the closest thing that could be translated to English based on what's being said in Chinese. So you see what I'm saying? How there's that barrier to language there, where it's like something could actually be, there's something, basically what I'm trying to say is there are things that get lost in translation. So I think that that's something that's kind of beautiful about language, the different languages, that is almost like, it's almost baffling in a way that how like people, based on the type of language you speak, your brain could be working in a completely different way than, say, somebody who just speaks English. And I find that fascinating. So this next one, so Agao Chan, this line translated to, I face the wind headstrong. Okay, the Google translation, smiling retrograde. My smile is in retrograde, Mercury retrograde, the zodiac. It's fucking with my smile right now. It's in retrograde. So you won't see much smiling on this episode of Monday Night Live. I'm afraid it's in retrograde. Next line, unyielding and unbending. Unyielding and unbending. Let's see what happens when we take out Agao's portion. Indomitable we get. All right. Forgotten how young I am. Forgotten how young I am. Forget about being young. Forget about being young, pal. You're an old soul right out the womb. Never feared to be lonesome. We get on this one. Never afraid of loneliness. Cried only for regret. Tears and regrets in pairs. Tears and regrets in pairs. Cried only for regret. See, that's two very different translations there. That puts things into two completely different contexts. However, both kind of sound, I would say tears and regrets in pairs sounds more poetic than cried only for regret. I will say that much. So point to Google Translate on that one. 1 point to Google Translate. Who's keeping score? My blood is still red. I long for future. My heart is still hot toward the distance. My blood is still red. I long for the future. So my heart is still hot toward the distance. My blood is still red. I would say my blood is still red and my heart is still hot creates two different types of contexts as well. Let's see if we can get rid of some of these now. There we go. I'll just bring this up a little bit more. Let's just get rid of all that. We'll go like this. Times and trials were knives and swords. It just says times and trials were knives and swords until I take this away. And then it says the wind and frost of the past become a carving knife. Very different. So times and trials were knives and swords. So making an implication there. The wind and frost of the past become a carving knife. I don't know. That's a tough call. I kind of like the Google Translate version on that one. The wind and frost, the cold, frosty past becomes a carving knife. I like that. I like that. I kind of like that. Times and trials were knives and swords. See, that sounds kind of plain to me. That sounds kind of plain versus the wind and frost of the past become a carving knife. I like that. Let's keep it moving. I'm digging this. Next, chiseled off my wings. Chiseled off my wings becomes broken wings. Well, Ugao Chan takes that one hands down. His translation sounds better. Next, yet I yearn to fly. Still fly, yet I yearn to fly. So still fly. Is it still fly? Still fly. I'm still pretty fly for a white guy. Nah, 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 nah. All right. Follow the light and forget you. Okay, so I'll run towards the light and forget you. I'll run towards the light and forget you. Translation, follow the direction of the light and forget you. Yeah, Ugao takes that one. Definitely. I shall only remember the wayward me. The narcissistic line, yes. I shall only remember the wayward me. Seems it looks like memories depreciate into my stubborn appearance. Go figure. Just as I didn't even read that either. I said, here's the narcissistic line of the song right here. I shall only remember the wayward me. Memories depreciate into my stubborn appearance. Memories depreciate into my stubborn appearance. Yeah. I like that one. I like that one better. It's more honest. I shall hold this light in darkness. Translation, I want to rely on the light in this dark night. If it was like something like, I rely on my torch in this dark night, I could see that making more sense contextually. But I think I like Ugao's translation on that one. More fitting. Next, and sing a long ballad unwavering. This was the chorus part, I believe. Hey, what's up, Rachel? Not too shabby, only a little bit crabby. Also, it faces a long song. All right, that one just doesn't make any damn sense. I'm breaking down song lyrics, which was translated by Agao Chan. Provided translated Chinese song lyrics, and I'm comparing it to Google Translate. So next line, I shall choose my own path, leave no regrets. Right now it says, walking on the river of life is not in vain. Madness. Not in vain madness. Is that now take this part away. Now it says, stepping on the river of life is not in vain. That one just doesn't make any damn sense. The first one, it sounded like they were starting to make sense. I feel like maybe if you have this English translation here, maybe it almost like helps the computer to figure it out. It says, walking on the river of life is not in vain. If it was like walking on the river of life won't be in vain, and I don't know why they just randomly add madness in there. But I don't see how that, it also says, I shall choose my own path, leave no regrets. See what I'm saying? So it's like maybe a gal is like reading that. It's like, well, this is the closest thing to describe what's being said in Chinese here. So it's very interesting to me. It kind of makes me wonder, like, what is it? Like, that's what boggles my mind is like, how does it not translate to English? Like, what are these Chinamen saying when they're speaking in Chinese? You know, it can't tell me in English. That's what baffles my mind. It's like, you can't tell me in English. You can't tell me in English exactly what it is that these Chinamen, or in this instance, this China lady who is singing this song, is saying in Chinese. It just doesn't translate. Like, she might be saying some sort of magical elf type shit, some poetic elf type shit. That's some sort of elven type of magic, but it just doesn't translate to English because English is like this, kind of like this, I don't know, kind of mutt language, an amalgamation of shit, mostly based off Latin. But let's see, may it be loneliness. So may it be loneliness. Loneliness, walking alone, may it be loneliness. So loneliness, walking alone. Well, that's fucking redundant. And then when you take away, the interesting thing is to see what Google Translate does when you take away the assistance from Agao Chan's translation. It just says, all it says is lone few. So it goes from loneliness, walking alone. Loneliness, walking alone. He was loneliness. He was the embodiment of loneliness, walking alone. And Agao Chan's translation, may it be loneliness, just two completely different friggin' things. Then just turns into lone few. Well, now you got multiple people here. Lone few? If there's a few, then they're no longer lonely. Am I right? Come on, Google. Fucking disgrace. All right, next line. May it be weariness. Weary pride. So may it be weariness. Weary pride. I like the sound of weary pride. If you have weary pride, instead of just, because it implies more to that line. If you say weary pride, it implies a lot more in that line than just simply may it be weariness. Like, in other words, like it's a suggestion. Maybe he's weary. Maybe they're weary. But this weary pride. Oh, weary pride. Now that tells me something. This is somebody who was once proud and they've grown weary. Tired pride. Or we could just break it down to simply tired pride. Yeah. Coming out of June, I would say that pride has made quite a few people tired. I will have to say. Pride Month has, in fact, made quite a few people feel tired in more ways than one. Moving right along. Whatever comes, I stand tall and proud. How much is left is just simply what Google says. So how much is left opposed to whatever comes, I stand tall and proud. Thought your pride was weary, though. How much is left? How much is left? That's a shitty translation right there. What are they referring to? What are they referring to? The milk in the fridge? What's going on here? All right. If my heart aches and despairs. All right, just says, if my heart aches and despairs. Now, that's misleading. That's misleading, Google, because you're making it seem as though this is a one-for-one translation here. This is misleading. Don't be misled by Google, you guys. You got to try different things. When you're doing these translations on Google Translate, yes, it can be a helpful tool, dare I say. But you got to try it. You got to word shit in different ways, or perhaps like I'm doing right here and have like maybe an English assistance to it, because that could change it. Because now watch what happens when I take away a gal. Let's see what happens. Let's see what happens. So this line right here is supposed to translate to, if my heart aches and despairs. Take it away. Heart like a quagmire. Giggity, giggity, goo. What the fuck? Heart like a quagmire. Yeah, this is a Celine. This is Chinese Celine Dion right here. Heart like a quagmire. That sounds like a Celine Dion type line. Not that I know. I'm saying I don't listen. I can't really say that for a fact as if I listen to Celine Dion. All right. Heart like a quagmire. Giggity. Next line. Who would have known? Who would have known? Another one of these one for one. I don't think so. Google, what do you got? Who will know? Who will know? Who will know? Who would have known? Who would have known? Who will know? See, that creates a completely different context in the song. That's what I'm talking about. It's puzzling. It's puzzling. All right. I think we have only a few. I don't think we have a bunch. Never feared to be lonesome. I think we covered that one. We'll see. Never afraid of loneliness. Yeah. Cried only for regret. We went through all that. This is the chorus part. We'll skip that. All right. I don't know what all that is at the end. Let me just get rid of all this, clear up the screen a little bit. Stepping on the river of life is not in vain. Okay, so that was that last line. Interesting. That was fun. I thought that was fun. And like I say, I'll leave the link to this actual Substack entry, to a gal's Substack entry, and you guys can actually go and listen to this song and hear the lyrics. Hear the lyrics sung in Chinese. And if you guys want to leave a comment, come back, leave a comment, tell me what you thought of the song. You know, I mean, I don't think I listened to it. I'll say right now, I listened to it. It's not my forte. It doesn't really fall into my kind of taste, but you know, but there's a music video as well that was pretty cool. Very dare I say, Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon-esque. It's kind of what I got out of it. There's a little bit of, almost like a little bit of a story going on with that. Yes, Rachel, our resident elf. How are you? I hope you're well. I hope you're well. I hope you're doing well also. Yeah. Oh gosh, so tiring, so tiring. It's the bullshit, and people get sucked into it. You know, I can't stand that. People get sucked into it, especially when I see people like you too. You too. You're supposed to be smart. You know, at least I thought you were smart. You too. You're getting sucked into that. It's difficult. Readout Productions. How you doing, good sir? I peek. You peek in. Oh, I see you peek. You're taking a little peek here. Quick peek. A quick peek, huh? A little peeping Tom, huh? I peek in, and it looks like John is using the Enigma code machine. No, that was Chinese. All right, that was Chinese. One of the authors that tunes in every now and then to the show is actually from China, speaks Chinese as well. And I thought that was cool. He has a Substack, and he posted a song lyrics to one of the songs that was sung in Chinese. And he thought, hey, I'll make a cool post. Is maybe what I'll do is I'll put the Chinese line right next to my English translation of the line. So it's like his own translation, which is interesting to note, because what I was talking about with languages is it's literally, they call them interpreters, right? So when they talk about people, and I know I'm not trying to talk to you guys like I'm talking down. I don't mean it like that at all. So just follow me here. I'm saying it like in my own way. Like, so they call these people interpreters, right? This is what I'm thinking. Like, I'm thinking through this. They call these people interpreters for a reason. And you may think, oh, it's just to interpret, say, okay, this guy's speaking in English, this guy's speaking in Chinese. They got to talk to each other. They got to communicate, but they don't speak a lick of each other's language. So there's a third party. There's an interpreter. So I think they call him an interpreter. Why? Not because they're why wouldn't they just call him a translator, right? I guess in some instances they might call him a translator, but it's more or less the interpreter is translating what the person is saying. But really what they're doing is they're interpreting what the person is saying, and they're trying to translate it into somebody else's language. So that's what I find interesting about the whole thing of like different languages, is that there's just shit that's spoken in certain languages and it doesn't translate to English, period. Like, there's just like, can you just tell me what he said? Well, not really, but I can tell you sort of what he said. He basically said blah, 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 blah. You know, it's not like, in other words, it just baffles my mind that there's not like an actual English, like you can't tell me exactly what that guy said in Chinese in English, because it's just not possible. You see what I'm saying? So it makes me think of like, language really is magic, you guys. Like, language itself is a magical thing. If you ever want evidence of magic, just look at fucking language and you'll get all the magic. All the abracadabra you need is right there in languages. The alakazam, alakazoo, magic words, saying magic words, spelling, casting spells. It's all language. All of it is language, and all of it is magic. I just said that. I just did that whole thing just so I could say language is magic. Oh, Rachel, perhaps you got something for reading time sometime, huh? I remember Pride Day. Pride Day used to be fun. It was just a party day. Something went wrong between the day/month transition. Yeah, apparently something got lost in translation there. Apparently. Maybe you got some exciting stories to tell, huh? A little wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Know what I mean? Say no more. All right. Shit. Let's get in some hot topics. Hot topic for content creators. This is where I pitch a hot topic to you guys. Then you guys turn around, create your own content on said topic. And if you tag me in your video or share the link with me, then I may feature your video during a future live stream. That's right. Or else you're always welcome to check out any of my previous videos and check out my previously pitched topics and leave a comment down below on any of those, and I'll address your comments live on the air. This is just going to be a quick one, really. I didn't really have anything prepared per se. I'm just going to kind of touch upon something and elaborate upon something that I've been wanting to kind of talk about for a little bit, but I just wasn't really sure. I just save it for a situation like this. Slow week, but I want to talk about art and artificial intelligence, but more specifically, not anything having to do with the generators, the image generators, or anything like that itself. This subject for this week, I want to focus on the actual artists themselves. There seems to be an increasing schism, let's just say. This subject can be quite divisive for a lot of people. We've already talked about how this subject or this topic is very emotionally charged. Depending on what you're talking about, who you're talking to, and the angle by which you are approaching this topic can be quite divisive or emotional for people. But I want to talk about how there's kind of like this schism that's occurring now, thanks to this AI, all this AI, the rise of the AI, if you will. I'll just leave it at that. With the rise of this AI is coming this schism in the art world, where, yeah, sure, it's more of there's I would say a schism between artists, okay? Because there's those people that claim to be artists, but they're not really artists. And I'm just talking about the normies that are kind of just like, they see this AI shit and they're like, oh, I can do art now. It's like, okay, Timmy, you kind of like, you pat him on the head, you turn him around, you try to keep him away from sharp objects, and you kind of just send him off to the corner to have fun with his, the AI image generators. And you're like, yeah, you're creating art, Timmy. Yeah, great job. You're doing awesome work. There's those folks. I'm not talking about those folks. I'm talking about the people who can be taken seriously. I'm talking about the people who actually have imagination, or actually have a reputation, have created art before, have their own kind of portfolio and their own body of work that they've been building up ever since before the rise of this AI stuff. So there's a schism happening between artists, is what I'm saying. And I'm talking, like I say, the people who can be taken seriously, the people who have imagination, the people who are capable of creating art, what could be considered art, creative works, at the very least, things that, they made with their own imagination, in other words, whether it be by hand or digitally, like digital art. I still consider digital forms of art to be art. Okay, it doesn't have to be paint on canvas for it to be art. But anyways, so there's a schism between actual artists occurring, where there's the camp of the artists that are like, well, you guys, AI isn't going anywhere anytime soon, so just hop on the bandwagon, you guys. Like the kind of the apologists, the sympathizer types that are like, well, maybe we can use this as a tool, and we could do things with it. And I'm not necessarily throwing those people under the bus per se and just writing them off completely, because I kind of want to there to be an open line of communication. I'll say that much. I want to continue to communicate. I want to continue to communicate with people who may have that type of mindset. I don't want to shut people out. I want to say, oh, you're using AI image generators to create character concept art? Banned. I never want to talk to you again. Lose my number. I don't want to be like that. And I'm not going to honestly, I've already mentioned, I don't give a shit. If you want to have fun with the AI image generators, you want to play around with Chat GPT for your pointless YouTube content, to create throwaway YouTube content where you're like, I asked Chat GPT, what's the meaning of life? Stupid, throwaway, disposable YouTube content, content for content's sake type shit, whatever. Have your fun. You know what I mean? I don't care about that stuff at the end of the day. The only part that I care about is when people want to start turning around and calling that art, claiming credit for that stuff, and then and then they turn around and they try to monetize that stuff. You see, that's the part where I think there's people get things fucked up, quite frankly. And I think that, there does need to be a line drawn in the sand. And that's where I draw the line. That's where I personally draw the line. And I say, well, if you're doing that, it's kind of scummy, man. I mean, I'm not going to call you names, but I'm going to point it out. And I'm going to use logic and reason to explain things, because I've already came at this from quite a few angles. But the reason why I'm not going to attack people is because I don't want, because when people get attacked, what happens? They get backed into a corner, they get painted into a corner, backed into a corner, and then what happens? They lash out. And then nothing happens. There's no bridge at that point. The bridges get burned. People stop working together on things. People become embarrassed or ashamed, but they don't want to admit it. They become stubborn. They don't want to admit fault, or they don't want to say, yeah, forget that, whatever. They don't want to change their ways. When people, I feel like the only way people can kind of want to on their own free will, because this isn't a manipulation thing either. In other words, I don't want to have to gate people. But how are we going to, my question this week for this subject is, what is it going to take for us artists who are not on board with this AI thing at all? I have no interest in it. Zero. Fucking zero. My interest in the AI thing, aside from the conversation and seeing how it's affecting the zeitgeist, that's my contribution to the conversation, is keeping an eye on this shit and seeing how it's affecting the zeitgeist from all these different angles. Aside from that, I do not care about the AI. I don't want anything to do with it. I personally, I don't want my name attached to that in any way, shape, fashion, or form. That's my personal stance on it. Now, how is it that artists like me who share that same type of view, what are we going to do? How do we move forward? You know what I'm saying? Because it's very intrusive. This AI thing, one thing that I've noticed about it is that it's becoming more and more intrusive, on our day-to-day. The shit is just popping up on feeds. I heard now Amazon, KDP, you've already got the shit storm. The shit storm is underway in full effect. I already talked about that. I think that was last year. I was talking about that, how that was going to happen sooner or later. But you got the shitstorm happening where people are uploading. They're just go ahead and they don't care about the legalities, anything like that. They're not worried about legal backlash or anything. They're just going ahead and they're uploading their Chat GPT fiction up onto Amazon KDP. And it's being flooded right now. The market's just being flooded with that. But it's being put on Kindle Unlimited, though. But what the new scam out there right now is that people are putting their Chat GPT dross, okay, their Chat GPT dross, calling it fiction, uploading it on KDP, enrolling it in Kindle Unlimited, and then, get this, they're using bots to read their own work. So they got ChatGPT creating AI fiction, uploading it on the platform, and then turning around and using AI bots to read the work. So now, can you see like the jokes? Guys, do I really have to crack a joke right now? I feel like the jokes kind of write themselves at this point. Where's the culture, you guys? Where's the culture? Do you know what culture is? Can you define culture? Do you even know like the point of it? What is the point of writing a piece of fiction? What is the point of reading a book? I just need to make money. I just need a money machine. This is like literally fucking Fred Flintstone level fucking scheme of money making. You fucking idiots. Oh my God. And this literally goes out to the people that are trying to commercialize this shit on Amazon Kindle. If you are one of those people, you are an idiot. And I would suggest maybe taking your shit off ASAP because you only get one Kindle account. You only get one Amazon Kindle account. You can't have multiple accounts. So you're going to fuck up your account. I hope you didn't do it in any kind of name that's meaningful. For one, I hope at least you had the brains to do that. But what are we going to do, us artists? Like, how are we going to be able to like separate the wheat from the chaff as far as that goes? You know what I mean? Like, because I want to create paid opportunities for other writers out there. And it's like, I don't want to be a fucking zealot. I don't want to be I don't want to come across as being a dogmatic fucking gatekeeper. You know, like one of these dogmatic gatekeepers out here. Like, you got to believe in my principles or else we can't work together. Do you believe in my principles? No. Well, we can't work together. I'm afraid, partner. You know, I don't want to be one of those obnoxious fuckers. You know, I just want to be an artist, man. I just want to be an artist that works with other artists. So how is it that us artists, and when I say us artists, you know who I'm talking about, the people who actually care about craft, care about culture, because at the end of the day, what is art but extension of the human experience, which is culture in some shape, fashion, or form in all its different facets, if you will. So what are we going to do? You know, like we got to come up with some sort of like vetting process. Like this is the shit that kind of like annoys me in a way. Like I don't want to have to come up with some sort of vetting process to say, okay, this person claims that they won't use AI, or it's just an open. Like I think maybe like I want to hear some of you guys, like say for instance, I'll give you a workable example. Okay, say I'm going to pitch an anthology project. Okay, a commercial anthology project where I want to put together a project that's going to showcase other writers. Okay, other writers, whether it be from a specific genre or about a specific topic, whatever. Okay. And I just want to showcase I just want to showcase other writers. And I'm going to take, like, I'm already at the, like, I can't accept open submissions. There's money involved. I'd be an idiot to do that. My money is on the line. My money is involved. My own money is wrapped up in the project. I can't accept open submissions, right? You guys tell me, what would be like what would you do? You're in my shoes. You're going to be shelling out anywhere from $100 up to $300 per piece of fiction. You know, $100 to $300 per piece of fiction. I mean, you'd want to like know that you're not getting ripped off, right? And you're not going to receive some AI plagiarism riddled piece of trash, right? So like it's making it so like not only is it harder to like trust people or just it's making it harder to like just come out with projects. Like I want to just do cool projects that and include other artists. I'm not talking about opportunists. I'm not talking about fakers, posers, fly-by-nighters, artists, right? People who are in this because they care about the craft, right? So like it's going to be difficult is all I'm going to say. Like, and I just want to hear what you guys have to say. Like, what do you think? Like, how are we going to work to how moving forward? I think time is the biggest factor. I'll toss that out there. Maybe you guys can riff off that a little bit, but I'm thinking time is going to be a factor. It's one of those things where it's like, I'm going to have no choice but to bide my time and just pay attention. Keep my eyes open. Bide my time, pay attention, keep my eyes open as to who's been here, who's been around for a while, who's doing what kind of moves have they made over the years, what kind of projects have they been involved in. But that's just step one, because then kind of like the part that's like that kind of like disheartens me a little bit with this whole thing is like, okay, I'm involved in the scene for quite some time. I've gotten to know some individuals. So I do have a list of names of people that I plan on reaching out to when I'm ready to launch a project that's going to be, you know, I want to offer someone a paid opportunity, right? So it's going to be an invite only situation. I ain't doing no open submission bullshit, slush piles. No, fuck all that. AI has already fucked that up. Sorry, guys, as far as that goes. But I'm saying like, but in the meantime, leaving those doors open so people can come in, they can introduce themselves to me, we can get to know one another, building these relationships online, just relationships in quotes here, right? This is just online, right? But you get to know other artists online. You get to know who's who. What do they do? And by what do they do, I mean the projects, you can look at their portfolio, you can watch their content, you can get to know, get an insider look, if you can, into their personal creative process. So you can kind of get an inside scoop of like how it is that they work, how they create things, you know, which is why I say, if you guys moving forward, and I can only speak for me, from my own personal perspective, of course, not everybody is going to be like this, okay? Everybody's got their own outlooks on these things. But for me, if I want to be taken seriously, I feel like for me, if I want to be taken seriously as an artist who appreciates the craft, in this instance, I'm talking about writing, so fiction specifically, in literature. So if I want to be taken seriously in that field, I feel like the worst possible thing that I could fucking do is start muddling my name by getting mixed up with this chat GPT bullshit. You know what I mean? The way that I see things, I want to keep my name far, far the fuck away from that chat GPT bullshit. Like, I'm a writer. I'm an author. That's my personal opinion. Not a good look optically to have your name mixed up, even if it's just like I'm literally like, that's why you'll see, like, I'm not even going to have fucking content. Oh, me playing with, here's a video of me playing with Chat GPT because this is fun. You know, I got better things to do with my time. That's a me thing. But all I'm saying as an example of, like, if I want people to take me seriously, I'm staying right the fuck away from that stuff. Get it the fuck away from me. You know what I mean? And I would think if you're like an illustrator, you do digital art or anything like that, then your feeling would be mutual. If you want to be taken seriously as an illustrator, because I'll tell you right now, if I'm going to commission an illustrator, I want to look at their portfolio, you know, because I will be looking to, you know, deal with someone who not necessarily just has a portfolio. In other words, has an established body of work that I can look at just for reference, not just because of that, but also because it shows a track record of doing business with other people, which is always good, you know. Just taking a risk on somebody who's never done business with people before, you know, that can be, I've heard of horror stories, you know, I don't know. It goes both ways as far as that goes. But I think, you know, you catch my drift, which is like, that's what I mean to kind of circle back. We're going to go ahead and circle back and we'll say, that's what I mean. Like, there's this schism here. And it's like, which side of the schism are you going to be on? Which side of the divide do you want to be on? Honestly, if you want to talk about making money, well, and you're going to fuck around with this AI crap, and you want to mix your name in with that AI stuff, well, then you better hope that AI stuff makes you money, right? Or else I feel like you're going to have it. It's going to be an uphill battle to get people to hire you. I would think. I couldn't take someone seriously if they were like, yeah, this is, you hire me and I'm going to create some artwork for you, but I use AI generators as a tool in my creative process. I'd be like, what? What? And you're charging me what? Get the fuck out of here. That's exactly what my response would be. And I would never, ever, ever do business with that person. Ever. Like, the thought would not even cross my mind. So you can see, like, it's going to create this situation where it's like, you AI guys out there or gals who are jumping on this AI stuff, and you're getting your name. Think about your name as a business entity, right? Think of your name as a business entity. So you say, okay, you're getting involved in this AI stuff. My suggestion to you, for one, be quiet about it. For two, use an LLC or a DBA if you're going to fuck around with this AI crap. You're going to test it out, play around with it, try to make money, see if you can create one of those little money-making schemes, if that's what you're, some opportunist and that's what you're into. You know, you're just trying to use the medium. You're just trying to use the craft just to make money. Okay, if that's you, okay. But my suggestion to you, so you don't shoot yourself in the foot, is to not mix your name up with it. Because then you're effectively, at least from my end, you're effectively giving yourself the scarlet letter at that point. And you know, I mean, it's effectively, metaphorically, that's what you're doing. Which is precisely why I'm stating right now, for the record, I am never using the AI stuff. I haven't used it. I don't plan on using it. I don't want to play around with it. I don't care about it. Aside from my conversation that I have here on the channel about it, because I'm interested in how it's affecting our zeitgeist, how it's affecting culture, how it's affecting art, which I believe is a very human thing. and up until this point in human history has always been recognized as being distinctly human. So I'll be interested to hear what you guys have to say on this one. Come up with any kind of suggestions, like how can us artists like come together, different types of ways that we can network with one another, the real ones I'm talking about. I want to connect with the real ones, you know. And another thing out there, I will just toss out on the end here, maybe a little nugget for next time that we can elaborate on, is a lot of you guys, I feel like you got to start loosening up a little bit. You know, a lot of you gatekeepers out there, you know, fucking relax, huh? Remember why you're here in the first place. Calm down, because when you, it's like, it's hard enough as it is to find people who are legit, to find people who are in this because they care about the craft, they care about the art. It's hard enough already to sift through the fucking grifters and the fucking shills that are out here. You know, it's difficult enough as it is to do that. And then you got to deal with gatekeepers on top of that. You know, the elitists. Oh, you ain't part of the club. Sorry, kid. You ain't a part of our club. You know, we ain't going to pay attention to anything you do. Come on, man. What did I sound like Biden? Come on, man. Killing me, dude. Killing me. All right. Let's wrap this puppy up. Time for the wrap up. Before I wrap it up, before I wrap things up tonight, let me put on some theme music. Put on some theme music for you guys. What do I have for tonight? Tonight, we're going to go ahead. How about we drum roll right into a bustling billiard bar room, baby. Rack them up, line up some shots. We got liquor in the front and poker in the rear. Yes. Let it build up for a second. Bustling billiard bar room, baby. Rack them and stack them. No Bud Light in this joint. All right, let's see what we got for comments this week. Anything? I know I got some. I know I got some from some fine folks. All right. All right. From The Right Mindset, Thomas J. Beleza of The Right Mindset. And this was when I put a post on my community tab about my conversation with him that I had. He just says, it was my pleasure. Said, had a great time talking to you, as always. Appreciate that, Thomas. Rock on, man. Let's see. And this, from my So from my review presentation, so this is what I was talking about. I would like to see, hey, more of you guys want to stop by, check out that presentation. Let me know how I did. What do you guys think of it? I do a good job or what? High production value? Huh? Give it the old Siskel and Ebert. Thumbs up or thumbs down? What do you think? No skin off my back. Maybe you want to hit down to the comments section like Sean did here and share your rating system. Let's see what Sean has. He says, I'm a harsh reviewer. My average, I think, is 2.8 stars. Holy shit. I think that's right around where I think you got me beat. I think right now, I think my current Goodreads rating is 2.9. 2.9. But that's not bad, though. See, we can get into it. That's not bad. That's what people need to understand. People think everything's 5 stars. 5 stars. No, let's check it out. Let's see what Sean says. It says unrated. Unrated simply means not for me. Do you DNF, Sean? Do you DNF? I'd be interested to know. Do you DNF, Sean? All right, let me zoom out a little bit here. There we go, that's better. All right, so 1 star. 1 star. Sean says, hated. Disliked it. 2 stars. Was okay. A little more. 3 stars. I liked it. I liked it. Or parts, at least. I'd probably try another by the author. Ooh, a little something on the end there. I like that. A little something on the end. See, this is what I want to know. You guys, if you want to share your rating, how do you guys rate? Do you rate by stars? Do you rate by skulls? Do you rate by goats? Do you count sheep? Interested to know. What's your rating system? And can you convert that to stars for me, please? So you say, okay, I give these books a score of I score it based on an amount of sheep. But what is the sheep to star ratio? I'd like to know. 4 stars here. 4 stars. This is pretty good. Recommend, he says. So he starts recommending at 4 stars. So do I. I say me and you share that aspect, Sean. I don't start recommending until I hit 4 stars. 3 stars, however, I will say is good. If you watch you can see my ratings, how I kind of break it down at the end. I save it all the way to the end. The presentation covers a lot more than just ratings. But it goes through the whole process of what is a review, what's the purpose of reviews, what are the different ways you may do reviews, or why you would want to do reviews. Okay? I'm going to break it down for you guys. Number 5 stars. Great. Give it a read. No questions asked. Just give that puppy a read. Thanks for sharing, Sean. Thanks for stopping by, man. Appreciate you. The Right Mindset coming in hot right behind Sean. Same video. He's got a list for me here. The number 1, Laugh Out Loud, the introduction. You got a kick out of that? You like that? Number 2, you reading the Red Book. Yeah, there's a little bit, if you're paying attention, I kind of pulled a Kubrick. If you guys are familiar with Stanley Kubrick, pay attention. The devil's in the details. You might see a kind of a reoccurring theme in this presentation. It's kind of presented in a narrative type of way. Number 4, I agree with you. Reviews are nothing short of an opinion based on preferences. But that is one point I tried to make in there, is that I really do try to do my best not to base my reviews on my ratings on my personal preferences. Yes, I have preferences. Yes, I pick and choose, because I did mention that it is basically impossible. Okay? It's basically impossible. When you're sharing opinions, it's impossible to be 100% unbiased. when you're talking about opinions. It's just the nature of opinions. However, I do really try to do my best, as I mentioned in the presentation, that when I'm doing a review or reviewing a piece of literature or fiction, that I try to focus on elements of the work. Now, there is preferences. Where my preference comes into play isn't my feelings and emotions for whatever genre I'm reading, because I did make it very clear in the presentation that I can read romance, you guys. I could read romance and not automatically give it a 1 star just because it's romance. If I was to go just on my feelings and emotions, then yeah, most romance would probably only be a 2 stars at most. At most. Maybe 3. You know, if I was literally just going by my feelings, but I don't. I try to focus on the elements of the narrative itself. Now, those elements of the narrative that I choose to focus on, yeah, those are based on my personal preference. In other words, what did I think was the most relevant elements of the story, of the narrative? And then that's what I analyze. So you see, that's where I kind of go moving forward. Number 5, how many times did you have to flip the book to be able to read it? If you know, you know. So you got to check out the presentation, you guys. You'll get it. Changing names. Dave ran through the forest until David found himself in the hall of Davy Jones' Pornhub Chronicles. See, are they all different characters, though? Or is it all the same in reference to the same character? This is information I need to know. Number 8, Fugly. Fugly indeed. Number 9, I rate everything on a scale of 1 to 2. 1 is, I don't like it. And 2 means it's number on my list. That's a very on the fence. Wait, what? Now, okay, all kidding aside, number 10, Thomas chimes in. And I like how you numbered these out as if it's like a 1 to 10 thing. Number 10, all kidding aside, I do the same thing you do. I have several categories that I each rate 1 to 10 on. Then the total average number across the categories becomes the rating for that product. All right. What are your categories, Thomas? I'd be interested to know what are the categories. It'd be interesting to see. Maybe if you don't want to say your categories, or maybe your categories change, because I know that like some people, they'll say like, you know, in blogs, editorials. Thanks for the comment, by the way. I know that some people like with their blog editorials and stuff like that, they do different categories. Like they'll say like characters. They'll say characters is like its own category. I thought about doing characters as like a category, but then I was like, yeah, but some stories, like what if it's plot driven? Like what if the story is just like strictly plot driven and the characters are literally like there's really not a shit ton of character work that was done in the story. Like it's not a whole hell of a lot of characterization going on. You know, in other words, I'm going to be left like with not really a whole hell of a lot to say for that entire category. So it's just like this kind of big goose egg in that for that category. And you might say, well, yeah, then you could just leave it blank. But if you don't say anything about the category, but then it makes it look like, you know, it would go against the story, right? Like there's plenty of stories that could be good and not have strong character work, like strong characterizations. Like I'm thinking strictly like more like plot driven work. I think a lot of sci-fi is like that. There's a lot of sci-fi work that's like that, where the characters are kind of just like placeholders for specific collections of ideas. Like the characters themselves are just like a representative of ideas, and the story is more about some sort of philosophical aspect, right? A philosophical question or whatever. And the characters involved in the story are kind of irrelevant past their kind of surface level involvement. You know what I mean? And you can have a story like that and it still be compelling, it still be interesting, and it still be entertaining. So at that point, can you really call it a bad story if it has all of those qualities about it? You know what I mean? And I'm careful to say qualities because, again, whenever you use the term quality, well, now you're getting into personal perception. You know, one man's trash could be another man's treasure, as far as that goes. Well, that's the live stream for this week, ladies and gentlemen. I hope y'all had some fun. I hope y'all discovered something new. But don't fret, because guess what? I will be back here for you next week, same time, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's 6 p.m. Pacific. And Elvis has left the building. Oh, hell yeah! That's my guy! Yeehaw! We gotta support us, buy his product. Buy!
This offended my sensibilities.